Raiders, the moment is finally here. Time to find out what Thor Feyhammer can actually do. Welcome to the channel, everyone. I'm Skratch. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. Hope you guys are having an amazing Friday. This fusion is meant to start on Thursday, 5th of August, guys. And we've been waiting to find out what this freaking champion can do for, almost 2 weeks now, since the Asgard Divide event started. As you guys can probably notice, the champion is still not in game. So finally, today we have actually received some news. So we're going to check out Thor's kit. We're going to see if this champion is actually worth all the hype, right? Like, is he going to be a good fusion? That's the main thing. And I feel like it's going to be pretty hard to kind of like nail it out of the park from the very beginning. All I can say is that I am a bit disappointed because the champion is not really what I was expecting it to be. I still can't make a conclusion to say the champion sucks or the champion is good till I actually get to test the champion, right? Because the whole idea with nukers is to know their actual multipliers. And at the moment, that's something that I don't know. Now, let me just put all that on the side. Hey folks, it's finally time to shed some light on the last but not least of the Asgard Divide champions who haven't been fully revealed yet. Thor Feyhammer. Being a strong, fearless nuker, Thor will definitely shine bright in PvP content, or namely anywhere where the damage is needed. Thor Feyhammer's skill set consists of various AoE attacks with a multi-hitter base skill, sprinkled with crowd control and ignore block damage and unkillable buffs, which sounds pretty interesting, mainly for PvP, PvE waves like Doom Tower and stuff like that. You guys know when you're going in faction wars or you're going into a Doom Tower wave and one champion has unkillable and you have a turn meter manipulation champion that constantly decreases the turn meter on the champion with unkillable or block damage, and he basically just makes you go crazy. Well, this champion will help you with that. Thor's passive skill deserves special attention as it will have a special thunder counter that will passively increase Thor's Feyhammer's damage by 3% up to 30%. That's actually pretty interesting. So it's not a crit damage, it's the actual damage that the champion deals. The counter increases each time Thor deals damage until it reaches 10 in total. And that's when he will bring down his wrath onto enemies, attacking them all and placing stun for one turn. Just like the thunder in the clear sky, it might happen out of nowhere, even not in his turn, making Thor a dangerous enemy. So that means that if he's gonna get a counter attack, that thing will still basically count for it. So the fusion will start on Thursday, September 5th. And this will be a hybrid fusion, guys, which means that you will have to collect the fragments for the epic champions and then basically fuse those ones, rank them up, ascend them, and then fuse Thor as the legendary. Now, let's quickly have a look at his kit, guys, because we've heard a couple of different things. This is Thor. We know the affinity, magic affinity, sorry. He will be an attack-based champion. With the A1, Wrath of Mjolnir attacks one enemy 2 times, has a 20% chance of repeating the attack. Each hit decreases the target's turn meter by 10%. I actually like these skills that have a chance to repeat the attack. I find them pretty interesting, and in some cases, like Geralt, for example, tons of fun, right? Then we have the A2, Fulminous Ricochet. On a 3-turn cooldown fully booked, the A1 is getting 20% more damage, the A2 is getting 20% more damage. Attacks all enemies. After hitting the first enemy, will hit every other enemy in a random order. Following the initial hit, each subsequent hit increases the damage inflicted by 25%, stacking up to 100%. So in Arena, because you have 4 targets, will be maximum 75%. In Hydra, will be maximum 75%. And in other cases where you have 5+ enemies, will be a maximum of 100. Assuming that only after the first hit, which is clearly stated right here, following the initial hit, each other hit will increase the damage by 25%. Now, this skill will ignore block damage and unkillable buffs, and this effect does not work against bosses. So, if the Hydra steals your unkillable, you're not going to ignore it, okay? Basically, right here, guys, as you may notice, this sounds like a very interesting skill, right? increasing your damage by quite a bit, almost doubling your damage, can be very nasty. And in some cases, probably it will work really, really well. You want to target the squishiest enemy on the board, so the damage increases for the ones that are more tanky, basically. Now, moving to the Hammer of Heaven, which is the A3, again, on a 3-turn cooldown, fully booked, and he is getting 15% more damage from here. Attacks all enemies. Before attacking, places an increased attack buff and an increased crit damage buff on this champion for 2 turns. Has a 75% chance, fully booked, 100% chance of permanently decreasing the resistance of each enemy by 10%, stacking up to 50%. Now, this skill does not require accuracy for this decreased resistance part, so it's going to be pretty solid for the Hydra, where you're going to be able to basically just drop the resistance by 50%. It's going to be massive for a lot of you guys that are struggling with accuracy checks on pretty much any content, including the new Odin dungeon. The majority of you guys are struggling with reaching 500 accuracy. So a champion like this will most likely help you in there, because you're going to drop that accuracy requirement from 500 to probably like 250, 300 with all of the hits, you know, if you manage to use this skill 5 times. That's the main idea, you know. So it's definitely a pretty solid one. Now, as I mentioned, I am disappointed that the champion is not what I thought it will be. The champion has no ignore defense in his skill set, and that is a bummer in my opinion. 2024, every single good nuker has some form of ignore defense. Now, it doesn't mean that the champion will suck. We still need to see the multipliers. He does have an interesting passive. He does have that interesting A2 that increases the damage. But without good multipliers, without good base attack, this champion will be just an average damage dealer, okay? We're looking at an Astrolon, etc. So I do have higher hopes for this champion. The passive Sky Rupture. Every time this champion deals damage, increases the thunder counter by 1. Stacks up to 10. Each thunder stack increases the champion's damage by 3%, stacking up to 30%. Once the thunder counter reaches 10, attacks all enemies and places stun debuff for 1 turn. After the attack, the thunder counter resets to 0. I'm not sure if I actually mentioned that the A3 has a AoE decrease speed as well, which will require accuracy. The stun from the passive will require accuracy. So if your main concern will be, I don't want to get polymorphed, you build him with 0 accuracy, and that's not going to happen. Now, I do like the idea of having that stun. It's actually a pretty interesting touch, in my opinion. Increasing his damage up to 30% on top of what he already does could be very, very powerful, and we might not even require that ignore defense part, you know. He sounds so far like he could potentially be a very good counter for a champion like Harima. Even though he is weak affinity, Harima won't be able to counter anything in his kit with her passive except a Savage set. But it really depends what sort of multipliers this champion will bring to the table. If the multipliers are weak sauce, this is gonna be an average nuker at best, you know. And yeah, we gotta wait and see. We gotta wait and try the champion before I can actually call it out, guys. It's pretty hard to kind of like jump in and say shit or he's great, you know, pardon my French. Then we have the aura, increases ally attack in all battles by 30%. So that's basically what this champion will do. Once I have a bit of a taste and see if he hits hard enough, if he doesn't, then expect to see a video on me comparing him with Freya, letting you know which champion will bring the most out of your account and which one of them should be the main priority, the Deck of Fate or the actual fusion. I know a lot of you guys are in this situation where you're not sure what to do just yet, if you can only go for one of them. So that's Thor's kit right here, guys. As I mentioned, I am a bit disappointed that he doesn't have any ignore defense whatsoever. I'll be honest, I would prefer to see, instead of that, the thunder counter and the stun ignores 20-30% of the target's defense. It would have been very interesting. Like, this character, okay, should be a powerful champion. Is a powerful character in the whole freaking world, you know, as a legend, as a myth. So it definitely needs to be a good one, hopefully. So I'm expecting to see 4.5 plus multipliers on the AoEs to actually have something decent here. If the multipliers are 4.0, even with all that extra damage that comes from his kit, is just not going to live up to the expectations. And because we've been waiting to find out what this freaking champion does for 2 weeks, and we said it, is either a crappy one, is either a godly one, okay? And that's why they're constantly baiting us with summoning events. And here it is, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. As usual, if you enjoyed the content, smash a like, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. Help me out with the algorithm. I really, really appreciate it. But that was all for this video, guys. Much love, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.